Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Mitchell, Superintendent for Cincinnati Public Schools, and I am excited to be here with you today to open up a very serious conversation for our young students, our young people across the city of Cincinnati. As you all are aware, our world has been turned upside down. We're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic and economic crisis, in addition to seeing social injustice take place across our nation, impacting our African American brothers and sisters and other people of color. And this is an opportunity for the young people in the city of Cincinnati to rise up in peaceful demonstration to take a stance against racism that is seen within our communities and potentially also experienced within our schools. At the beginning of last school year, I talked a lot about influence in terms of our young people having influence, not just impacting the world in terms of their school, but also the communities in which they live in and the world at large. And so when all of this started to really take place in terms of seeing racism really play out in a significant way across our country, I had to ask myself, did you really mean what you said about our young people having influence? And if so, what are you going to do about it? And so today is the first day that we're going to have a conversation about race in Cincinnati. And the idea is to come out of this with a set of action items that will move us forward. Again, this is only the first in a conversation. We want our young people to demonstrate influence. We are hearing loudly and we are hearing clearly from you that you are tired of being patient and waiting for things to change. It is your responsibility to stand with us, to lead us, and to help make change happen. What we're seeing in on our televisions and in social media as it relates to race play out is not normal and is not acceptable. And it is not acceptable, especially in the year of 2020. It's interesting to say that we've come a long way, but then you look at what's happening to people all across the United States and you can see that we have not really come that far. Institutional racism is alive and well, and it is embedded within our society. And we have a responsibility to take action against it. We have a responsibility to dismantle racism and any traces of it that we see within our school system and also across our community. Our board, as well as all the staff members in our district, we are committed to looking at school level policies, programs, operations, and practices that actually lend itself to racist views as well as inequity. We are going to work extremely hard to call out specifically racial disparities that we see play out in discipline, economic advantages, as well as programming for our young people. This is your opportunity. This is not a moment, this is a movement. Today is about opportunity. It is about an expectation for change. We want to hear from you. Honestly, we want to hear, what are your demands of us? What are your demands of the school system? What are your demands of this community? And what are the demands of the society? So again, I welcome you. I invite you to this conversation. This will be an ongoing conversation. This isn't a one-time deal. We'll be doing this all throughout the next school year. Today, we're going to hear from a select number of student leaders. But moving forward, we will make sure that you have the opportunity, all the viewers out there will have the opportunity to speak up and have a voice. At the end of this session, we want to have 3 to 5 action items. This is not about just talking. This is about real action. So again, thank you for tuning in and welcome. We look forward to what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Mitchell. We appreciate your leadership during this time. I'm Nia Bauke. I am with the Cohere team, and we have had the wonderful opportunity to partner with Cincinnati Public Schools for quite a while. And not only as a member of the Cohere team, but as a parent, as a person who has coached athletics within CPS, I'm proud to be facilitating this conversation. And just as the superintendent stated, this is the beginning of many conversations to come. If you are a student who is watching today, think about what you'd like to say in the future. There's a select group that will be starting the conversation this week, but there will be an opportunity for you to comment and ask questions moving forward. It's important to remember that these students represent themselves and their experience alone, and we understand that this is a extremely emotional and meaningful conversation that we're trying to have in this format. So we may not be able to cover every single topic, every single feeling today, but I know that the district is committed to hearing all students and understanding what they can do better and take action on it. So with that, I'll ask the students to come on and share their videos so we can see their wonderful faces today. Hello, hello. So just as a reminder, as you guys are coming on here, remember that as we're talking, we'll just have you raise your hand if you have something to say initially, but we are going to start with just introducing who we have here. So Aaron, do you want to start by introducing yourself? Tell us where you go to school, your grade, and something that's bringing you happiness right now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron Davis. I'm a rising senior at Woodward Career Technical High School, and one thing that's been bringing me joy has been working out. I guess keeping my mind off of things. I wouldn't really say bringing me joy, but keeping my mind off of the things that's going on around me.
Thanks, Aaron. Jorland, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Carolyn Harrison. I'm a sophomore at Western Hills University High School. And one thing that brings me joy is to see everyone coming together to fight for injustice and to solve the racism that is going on in America today.
Thanks, Carolyn. Chris?
Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Scott. I'm a rising senior at Western Hills High School. One thing that's bringing me joy right now is being around my nephews and nieces.
Jemiah, what about you?
One thing, I'm Jemiah Smith. I'm from Woodward. I just graduated, and one thing that's bringing me joy during this time would be, I would say, being able to still be able to write my poetry and express myself that way.
I love that. Thank you, Jemiah. Kanesha?
Hi, I'm Tanisha. I'm a rising senior at Western Hill High School, and one thing that brings me joy is just my friends and going every day and becoming a better person.
Thanks, Kanesha. Is it Namaria?
Namaria.
Namaria.
Yes. But hi, my name is Mariah Evans. I'm a graduating senior from Woodward. One thing that's making me happy right now is still being able to work during this.
Thanks, Namaria. And we have one more person on. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm LaArion Pringle, and I am a rising senior at Western Hills High School. Something that brings me joy is seeing that everybody coming together with everything still going on.
Thank you all for introducing yourself. We appreciate you being here, and there's obviously a common theme of togetherness, and I see that too, and I think that's bringing me some happiness as well. I know you all were able to kind of think about some of the things that we'll be talking about today. So I just want to open up the conversation by starting with how are you feeling with everything that's going on right now? How does it make you feel? How are you handling it? So whenever you're ready to share that, you can raise your hand. I'll call on you. Namaria?
So everything that's going on right now kind of brings sadness to me because I feel like a lot of us, we're protesting in the wrong way or we're using our voice in the wrong way. There is a lot of people coming together, but then again, there's a few who is just taking advantage of this protest.
So that's what's bringing you kind of sadness, is just feeling like there's individuals that aren't expressing themselves in the way that you would like to see.
Yeah, such as the riot that happened the other night. I mean, it was kind of, especially since I know a few of the individuals, it wasn't for justice. It was for the fun of it for them. It wasn't for George. It was for just them wanting to be rebels, and I didn't agree with that.
And so that's making you feel frustrated. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Aaron?
Over the couple of months, like with the police brutality, with the rioting, it's bringing me a bunch of uncertainty. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know what next school year gonna look like. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play basketball next year. I don't know if I'm gonna be alive next year with all the stuff that's going on. You just don't know, and I just want stuff to go back to normal so I can know what my next day gonna look like.
So feeling like you're just not sure what the future looks like, it makes you
Yeah,
feel a little overwhelmed.
yeah.
I understand that. Thank you for sharing that. Jorlyn, I saw you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I agree with that because you kind of don't know like what's happening. You wonder like, are you next? Are one of your loved ones next? And you just don't know what's going on.
Understand. Chris?
Um, honestly, with everything going on, besides the pandemic and the protests and the riots and all that one stuff, honestly, it's been bringing me anger. And it's a common thing in our community right now, which is anger. But it's just, why are we still dealing with the same stuff that our ancestors were dealing with? And at the same time, the pandemic was bringing America together closer, like our communities were coming together to help each other. But now that George Floyd had died and all this stuff had happened just within the past month itself, now America is back separated. And it's just the whole unity thing, the whole side of unity had broke. So it's just like the uncertain part. I just don't know where America's gonna stand within just the next 5 years at least.
Mm-hmm. So feeling kind of ununified right now, feeling like we were together, but not so much anymore, and a lot of uncertainty.
Yes, ma'am.
Kanesha, I saw you had your hand raised.
Um, uh, I feel like disappointment, but I'm not surprised. Um, this is something that has been like it's been leading up to this, and it was gonna come eventually, whether you feel like it wasn't or not. This is probably that need to be talked about, and with in far as the riots and all that, we tried to be peaceful, kneel and talk, but I feel like now our actions are speaking louder than our words, and um, it's what's needed to be done. And most companies they don't care, but I feel as far as the looting, you hit them where their pockets hurt because if we don't, they're not gonna listen to us. So you hit them where their pockets hurt, and that's how they start speaking up and getting changed. So that's how I feel.
Thank you for sharing. So disappointed, but not surprised. Ariane?
It just make me feel like nothing ever changed. When you sit and think about it, it's the same thing repeating itself, history repeating itself over and over again because nobody is standing up. And it's going to take more than just black people to stand up for black people. It has to be everybody.
So again, kind of feeling not surprised, but knowing that something has to change in order for things to get better. Jemiah, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I did. I feel like at the moment, I just feel real helpless, but at the same time, it's like I feel helpless because how are we still doing the same things and nothing's changing? And but with that comes like frustration because it's like, why am I giving my all to something? And I'm literally just who I am. Like I was born black. I am who I am. Why does I feel like I have a target on my back, and it kind of scares me a little bit.
Thank you for sharing that. Before we move forward, one, I want to say that all of your feelings are valid and important, and you're allowed to feel however you're feeling right now. And I wrote some notes down, the words helpless, angry, frustrated, uncertain, sad, not feeling unified, not feeling like things are changing. Those are all normal feelings. So I want to thank you guys for sharing that and being vulnerable. I'm curious to hear from you. What are the things that you're doing to take care of yourself as a young person right now? I know that it feels hard, and you all are sharing some of the emotions that you're going through. Do you have a person in your life, friends, folks that are supporting you right now? Kanesha, raise your hand.
As a keeping myself stable and all this, I feel like the best thing I do right now is keep myself informed and knowing what's going on right now. And just getting different views from people that I know and just talking about it. So that's how I'm just keeping myself grounded right now because I feel like if I'm not informed, then I'm just discombobulated. So I'd rather keep myself informed and in the loop than just be out here looking clueless.
Mhm. So trying to stay informed, talking to other people with different views. Namaria?
Yeah, well, I actually leave for the military in like a few days, so I don't know really. I don't know how to feel. I have three African American brothers, a father, and other family members, and if something happened, I wouldn't be able to be here. And Jemiah, she's actually one of my really close friends. She just talks to me every day, make sure I keep doing what I need to do, so my future is ensured.
Thanks, Namaria. And thank you for your service. Jemiah, did you have your hand raised? Looks like she might have stepped away for a moment.
Yeah, I have my hand raised. Like Mario said, we like each other rock at the moment, but like Kanisha was saying also, just staying in the loop and making sure the information I'm getting from like social media, because it's a lot of bad information on social media that's not true, and we just got to make sure we're getting the right information and making sure we fact checking it.
Okay, so talking to friends, but also staying informed seems like it's a big theme. What about you, Aaron, Chris? Go ahead, Aaron.
Um, I've been trying to keep myself in the loop, but you said, what if I've been doing to stay grounded? One thing I've been doing to stay grounded and keep my health is I've been having like a daily routine, and I'll make sure that I stay on top of everything I need to do so I can stay proactive, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, so having a routine, kind of making things feel a little bit certain during this uncertain time.
Man.
Appreciate Chris?
Only thing I've been doing really, really praying more that I really, because just me being a black male, me being a black man in America is just, you never know when something's gonna happen. So it's just really, I do my part and be safe on my side, get the right information, like others have said already. Because if we don't get the right information, the media will give us whatever they want us to see. So if we don't go search and get whatever we need, they're going to give us a message. And it's up to us to find out the truth. But keeping God in my life more and more and doing my part as a citizen of this very huge nation of ours.
Hmm. Thanks, Chris. I hear from a lot of you guys that staying informed is really important to you. So even if it feels uncomfortable and overwhelming, you want to know what's going on. Does that sound right from the group? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how you would want to feel supported from adults. So both leaders that you know in our community, but also leaders within your schools that you attend and CPS. How do you want to be supported right now? Jemiah?
I feel like to be supported, we got to be heard. I feel like throughout history, people weren't heard, and that's why nothing ever changes. So when we're heard, that's when things will not change, but it will be active. What is it called? Like an action towards change. When we,
How
when
do
we
how do you want to be heard? Is it more things like this? Is
like,
it more conversations in your school?
yeah, like what we're doing right now, like this, I feel like my voice is being heard.
Hmm. So you want an opportunity to continue to share.
Yeah, like like mm, yeah. Platforms and openness.
Okay. So more of these. Namaria?
Yeah, I totally agree with Jemiah because a lot of adults that I've encountered feel like, what voice do we have, as if, who are we? We are the future. That's like exactly who we are, because without us, what's the next, what's the next business? What's the next generation of people going to do? But a lot of them just feel like we can't really make a change because we're immature or we don't know what we're talking about. So platforms like this, definitely we need more of these. And I feel very supported by my CPS teachers, coaches, staff members. CPS has done a really good job with that.
Thanks, Namaria. Chris, I know you had raised your hand next.
Um, the biggest thing I want to see really, I don't want to see violence. That's the last thing any of us need. But I do want to see more involvement. Like even just to be heard, you have to be seen first and acknowledged before like any change can come. So like ever since all this stuff happened, I can't tell you how many people I've seen hide behind doors, hide behind curtains, and all this one stuff because they don't want the wrong attention. Like, yes, it's risky, but to have change, you got to take the risk. Not saying violence, but you got to be able to take the risk for the change to come. So just people to be bold for real. That's just the biggest thing I'm asking for.
So what does being bold look like to you?
Me, protesting in front of the cops face to face to let them know that we're not scared. First of all, we're not scared of you. We're not scared of your weapons. We're not scared of anything you have. We're not scared of your power. We want change. We're not like the fact that change is right next to you. You have the power to change it, but you won't. You feel me? And that's my biggest thing is, do you care more about your money? Do you do our lives? That's my biggest thing. Like, is your pockets more important than my life? And in my eyes, it's not. And to everybody's eyes, we all need to be treated as humans. That's my point of view. But it all started with the hearts of people for real. Because if your heart don't change, nothing's gonna change. That's point blank. Like that's everything.
Thank you for sharing. It sounds like you'd like to see more of your colleagues and friends protest with you.
Yes.
Thanks, Chris. Aaron, I know you had your hand raised for a while.
one thing that CPS can do to help keep us grounded, like support us, is they can keep us informed. Modern day racism was going way before this, and kids won't know about it. The kids walking around the school won't know about it, and the teachers won't say nothing about it. But that's things that we need to learn in school. Like what's going on in the world, that should be something that we learn in school, and that's how they can support us. Because if more kids know about it, it it could be a difference that could happen.
So you want more conversations around racism and the history of systemic racism incorporated into the classroom. Is that what you're saying?
On the regular, because
Um,
it's
Thanks, Aaron. But Ariane?
I agree with Chris. If the people real uncomfortable about talking about the stuff that occurs when it comes to racism and stuff, and they think that buries everything, when in reality it doesn't. They make everything worse. The more up standards we have, the less complications and issues like this will happen.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And the conversation, it sounds like many of you guys are saying that having open conversations in school about these things and being proactive, because obviously these issues didn't start today, they've been ongoing. Kanisha, I know you had your hand up.
I agree with what Chris and Aaron was saying. We just need to keep everybody informed. And CPS, as a district school, as a school district, they need to speak out and be blunt about what they say. This situation is not a situation to tread lightly on for our non-white peers or non-black peers. This situation needs to be talked about. No matter what your feelings are, it's reality, and this is the reality Black people face every day in America and all over the world. So I feel like the most support we can get right now is just being blunt with what you say, how you feel, and not holding back.
So would you guys want, I saw a lot of head nods on that. Would you guys want your schools to have conversations with your non-Black peers and with you about these matters? Do you think that'd be beneficial? Jemiah, you raise your hand.
Yes, I do feel like that would be beneficial because I feel like it's a lot of people that not of color and of color, Black people, I do of color, but like that's like not informed, like not they don't know information. Like I met a white person who did not know like slavery was a thing, and I'm like, how? I feel like that's like one of the only things they do teach you in school, and they just like run over it. So how didn't you know that? And it's like people are real ignorant to information, so we have to, as long as you put the information out, you can't say that you didn't inform somebody. You educated them. So whether they want to take the information or not, because I know sometimes I don't take everybody's information, but we have to make sure we get it to everybody so they can make their own decisions on how they want to feel and what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. So sharing more information, sharing some of the history behind why these things have happened and what we're seeing is important to you. Anyone else on thoughts of ways you want to be supported, not just by CPS, but leaders, in the community in general? Do you want people just to reach out to you, tell you that they care? Do they want you to do you want them to just listen to what you have to say? What's the right way for adults to be supporting you right now? Purelin?
The right way by supporting us is like listening to this and like having an opinion, but also respecting our opinion. And I don't agree with like people like rioting, because it's like tearing the community apart, because most people have an opinion about Black Lives Matter and some people don't, and it's just tearing everyone apart, because like it's just basically us versus them, and then it's just drifting everyone. But like we were, like Chris said earlier, we were becoming together, and then we were helping everyone, and now it's like everyone is just separating apart because of the riots. And about everyone's opinion on Black Lives Matter.
Do you feel like your opinion is respected as a student, as a young man?
To a certain extent, like there's some people who don't really respect my opinion, but I feel like this group does, and I'm very thankful for this group here today. And I just like you shouldn't have to like worry about like if you're gonna be next or like if one of your loved ones, because I know me personally, like I fear like when my dad walks out the door if I'm gonna see him again because of what's going on. And since we've been on this curfew, he goes out to work early, so and he told me like no matter what, I love you, and it's kind of sad because you don't want to hear that from your parent, and you don't want that to be the last thing you hear from them. And I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You don't know if your loved one is gonna be next, or you don't know if like I don't know what's gonna happen to my dad when he leaves out for work. And since it's curfew, he goes out to work early every morning, and it's like the curfew ends at 6, but he leaves for work at 5, and it's just I don't want him to get pulled over, and because he's Black, unfortunately die.
Mm-hmm. I understand how you feel, and we thank you for sharing that. And that's a hard feeling to feel that way. So thank you for sharing that with us. How important is it to you guys to have your coaches, your teachers, your peers understand how you're feeling right now? Larion?
It's very important because these are the people that we see every day. These are the people who push us to be better. So for them to understand how we feeling and we're like why we are angry or why we feel the way we feel, it means a lot to us, honestly.
Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead, Mariah.
I agree with everything she said. These are the people that we see most often in our life. These are the people that's most likely listening to us daily. These are the people that we're surrounded by.
Jorlyn, I know you had your hand raised.
Yeah, it's good to have a support system because some people don't have the luxury of having their parents around, so it's really good to have someone listen to you and have your voice being heard.
Jemiah?
Yeah, it's good to have like coaches and teachers because like Mariah said, like these are the people we are around every day, 5 days a week, and then with playing sports, I mean almost every day of the week. So if I can openly come to my coach and say something about this, and they can acknowledge it, and we can like work to do something to like change it, then that's fine with me. I like that. It gives me some type of reassurance that like somebody cares. What happened?
Thanks, Jemiah. Appreciate that. Before we switch over, I know we have some leaders from the community on the line who are going to jump in and talk. I want to thank you all again for sharing your feelings, and a reminder to the folks that are watching that this is a very beginning of the conversation, not the end. And it's our hope that this group and many other student leaders will give us insights into how we can support you all as students during this time. I have two more questions for you. One is just by show of hands. How many of you have had a teacher, coach, administrator, someone that you're close with in the school reach out to you during this time? Just raise your hand if anyone has reached out to you. That's awesome. Is one of you willing to tell us what they said and how that made you feel? Chris?
All of my coaches have contacted me, football coaches, just checking on me because I had to have a repair on my knee. So all of my coaches had called me, checked on me, and make sure I was doing doing everything I needed to do, make sure I was healthy. And they caught the rest of the team as well. So our coaches, they watch out for us.
Awesome. Kanisha, I know your hand is raised.
My teacher and our Girls with Pearls administrator, Miss Lewis Thornton. We recently got with her, and she talked to me about the situation going on. I don't know. I just feel like her words are always like influential, and she just like brings to like soft spots to my heart whenever like something's going on. So I feel like her words they just uplifted me. So yeah, thanks to Miss Lewis Thornton, she made me feel better always.
Aaron.
Yeah, my coaches are doing everything they can. We have a Zoom call twice a week, and we've been having that for about a month and a half now. So we've been talking on a weekly basis with our coaches, and they making sure that they support us and make sure we still doing everything we got to do and so forth.
That's awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Namaria.
Yeah. Same here. My coaches have been reaching out quite often. My English teacher, actually, she's a huge advocate for things like this. Miss Benny, she she has a passion for a lot of everything that's going on right now, and she stands 100% with us. That makes me happy. And then also my counselor, Miss Gay. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't even know about this whole speak up thing.
That's awesome. I think there's many of you all who have had the opportunity to connect with teachers and leaders. Jemiah, I know you had your hand raised. You want to share something?
Oh yeah. Like Miss Gay, she always makes sure she calls, make sure I'm okay, tell me she loves me, make sure everything is fine, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, my counselor always reaching out. Miss Gay
Yeah.
always reach out.
That's awesome.
Love you, Miss Gay.
Yeah, shout out to everyone.
Miss Gay.
That's amazing that you guys have support systems in your life. I just have a few more minutes before we hand it over to leaders, and I know Ariane and Curlin, you were a little bit quiet, so I'm going to leave the last question to you too, and that is for students who are watching. And by the way, students who are interested in being on this panel, being part of this group, can reach out to their athletic director, and we'll mention that again toward the end. But for students that are watching and thinking about these things, what's your message to them? What do you want to say to them as a word of encouragement? Go ahead, Larion.
Despite whatever situation, like no matter what it is, no matter how hard it feel like it's getting, when it feel like it's getting dark, you gotta believe in yourself and always keep pushing. Don't stop life because what everything going on. Don't let that stop you from doing whatever you want. You gotta motivate yourself every day, even when you don't want to wake up.
I love that. Thank you. Yorlin?
No matter how much hatred is shown to African Americans, just always remember that being Black is a blessing, and live up to that every day. And no matter how many people might not like you, just continue to be you and just continue to build up your community and fulfill your dreams.
Man, I knew I chose you for the last word. Hold on, Aaron, you want to add something?
I just want to let them know that bad times don't last forever. It might be bad right now, or something might not be right, but they'll be straight.
Thanks, Aaron. You guys are awesome. Your words are amazing. I know we don't have as much time as we want you to talk about everything, but hopefully you'll be able to get back on here shortly and dialogue with some of the leaders that are on the line. But right now I'm just going to ask you to go ahead and cut your video off so the leaders can introduce themselves, and I will do the same so that my colleague can introduce them.
Hi, everyone. This is Dunny. Nia, thank you for that. Superintendent, CPS, really grateful to be here and have this chance to chat. And I just want to say, after listening to those students, to all of you, you know, I have so much more hope knowing that you are the next generation of leaders. You are all amazing. So thank you for your thoughts and for your wisdom. There is also some wisdom on this call that's been, had a few more turns around the earth, and we want to give them a chance to just share some of that and introduce themselves. So, Mr. Newbury, if you could just say, introduce yourself, and actually, I liked the way Nia started with the students on the call, just something that's bringing you joy, and just any words of wisdom or things you want to share with these students.
Absolutely. Can you hear me? Awesome.
Yeah.
I am absolutely inspired by these kids. For years, we've kind of always said that we're building future leaders. I'm looking at leaders right this moment who are they're turnkey. You all are ready. So the stuff is bringing me joy. I tell you what, in the last month, I don't know if I've had anything more inspiring than what I've just heard from these thoughtful young men and women. So I'm just amazed to be a part of it, and anything I can do to help push and elevate these kids. I'm here. I'm all for it.
Thank you so much. And I imagine as they spoke about adults in their life who are giving them support, they were talking about people like you. So thank you for the work you're doing.
Appreciate you.
Councilmember Kearney, you are still on mute. I just want to make sure that we can hear you.
Okay, how's that?
That's great.
Is that good? Can you hear me? I'm sorry. All the technology. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm Cincinnati Council Member Jan Michelle Lemon Kearney. Got appointed right before the stay-at-home COVID crisis. So it's been a really wild ride. I'm happy to serve. I mean, this is a time I think we're all needed, and so I'm really honored to be here on City Council. First of all, I want to give kudos to Nia. I thought she was a great moderator. I just love the way she moderated the panel. The students are just really inspiring, and so thank you so much to all of the students. I just I love the way they talked about their teachers and coaches. I'm loving them and bringing them support. That's so important. And big hats off to Cincinnati Public Schools, because that is just a beautiful environment. I know it's a tough time. Students have they've missed graduations, and they've are in-person graduations, and they've missed sports events. Christopher plays football, and I heard him talk about his coach. They've missed hanging out with their friends. I mean, it's really a tough time, and I think the way they've weathered it and stayed positive, I mean, it really makes me feel so proud of them. I love the way Larianne said, keep believing in yourself, and then Carolyn said, being Black is a blessing. You have to be you. You have to fulfill your dreams. And then Aaron said, bad times don't last forever, and they don't. And so I just really, all of them bring me joy. And, all the young people I see out here peacefully protesting bring me joy as well. I mean, they are definitely our leaders. They're our future and our present. And I'm just so proud of all of them.
Thank you so much, Councilmember. Principal Wright?
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathy Wright. I'm the principal at Houston High School. And I am incredibly proud of the young people that just shared with us today. It takes a lot for a young person to share deeply how they're feeling about situations like this. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of just intestinal fortitude to really just stand up and share what they're feeling. It's an incredibly tough time to end the school year the way we had to, then to turn around and to have this, right behind it. It has been incredibly tough. I am the parent of a CPS student, and I talk with him often, and it's been tough for all of them. So I just really appreciate that CPS has been a leader and making sure that we're including our students in the conversation about what's happening, because they're the ones that will, I think, impact us the most
and lead us into the opportunity that we have to really change the way that we are doing our business. So I'm excited to be here today. I really appreciate it. So thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Principal Wright. At our work here, we talk a lot about, everyday experts, and there's no doubt that the experts on what the future should look like are the people who are going to live with it longest. So really grateful to have all these students sharing their ideas. Mr. Ward, you are still muted. Just want to make, there we go.
I'm humbled to even be a part of it with this such a great panel of people. I love Jan Michelle. I love Mrs. Wright. And Don and Danny, I've met you on several occasions, so you're just awesome. But I was in tears listening to the hearts of our young people. I'm amazed at their resilience and the empathy that they still have, and the desire to unite humanity is it's unbelievable. And they want to be heard, and they have value. They can add value to the solution. And so I'm just excited about what the future holds, and I'm excited about working with people to help us to facilitate that.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you again. I think we've got a little more than 10 minutes left of people's time, and so I did want to see, and again, I think we can use maybe the hand raising too. But if there's a thought you want to share with students, or if there's a question you want to kick back over to them, and we can ask them as they want to chime in to turn their videos and mics back on. But does anyone have something they either want to share or follow up with or ask students? Yeah, council member.
Okay, so I'd love to know how they're doing with how they did with keeping up with their academic work and what they're doing for the summer.
So if any of the students want to chime in and answer that, there you go. Awesome. Chris?
Academically, we're really just, I'm studying for another try at the ACT and trying to basically prepare myself for the next upcoming year, however that's going to look. But athletic-wise, I'm really just trying to get myself back on track, trying to be ready just in case we do have a season. If not, then I'm just going to be a healthy person, regardless. But so
good for you.
it's just,
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Christopher, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was excited to hear that. My son is 15. He's an athlete too, and I'm like, you got to get out there and work out every day. We don't know what's going to happen with the season, but like you said, you got to be ready. So that is great.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
staying in shape academically and also physically. That's wonderful. You want me to call on Curlin? I don't know, Danny. Are you calling on people or?
No, you and Curlin.
Okay. Guys, go ahead. Speak up. I'd love to hear from you.
My parents, they have been really helpful throughout this. They actually wrote me and my little sister out a schedule. And so we just we wake up at 9 and then we go straight into chores and then we do our schoolwork for at least 2 hours a day. So that has been really helping me out. And that's just keeping me on track because I think that everyone should actually write out a schedule for times like this, because if you don't, you really don't know what to do, or you really just have a lot of free time. And if you write out a schedule, you can plan out your day ahead of time and try your best to follow that schedule.
I love that, because that gives everybody an opportunity to move ahead and move forward. So that's great, a schedule. That's really good advice. I love that. I'm going to have to take that back home and try it out. So that's excellent. Jemiah?
Since I'm a senior, I feel like academically it was hard. It was really hard for me during the pandemic because I got to motivate myself. I got to get up myself. I have to open this computer and get this work done so I can graduate. It was really stressful, but now with everything going on, it's like it just shows like I'm happy I pushed myself and I got through it. And for anybody else that's coming, like all the rising seniors and stuff, just stay focused and stay motivated and keep pushing.
So that's wonderful. I just wonder, how did you stay motivated? I mean, it was a tough time. How did you stay motivated?
Like, what's his name? Keorland, like you said, making the schedule, waking up at the same time, going to sleep at the same time, making sure, I still have some type of structure, even though there's nobody telling me what to do. There's no set thing. Like, I don't go to lunch at 12:30 anymore. I go to lunch whenever I want to eat. So I got to make sure I keep myself and on a schedule and keep myself together.
That's excellent. That is wonderful. Thank you.
Kanisha?
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. Oh, Kanisha, yeah. There you go. Kanisha, go ahead.
During the pandemic, I was not consistent at all. I was all over the place, discombobulated. I didn't know what to do, which way to go. So basically, I was just on my own time. So I would be doing work at 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up at 1, and just taking it day by day. But I feel like the best thing I did was just like, since I was so close to the finish line, to keep my vision narrow to get there, and just working with my classmates and helping each other out. And teamwork is just like, it was the best thing ever. So, and then I passed all my classes, thank God. And during the summer, I was in my CP courses to get a head start on my degree and all that. So, that's what I'm doing.
You got a head start on your degree. That is so great. That is wonderful. I love that. It's got to be hard to stay on schedule, when you don't have to be someplace the next day. But good for you for, that's self-discipline. That's excellent. Keorland, go ahead.
I think another thing that would help us is to make a vision board of what you want your year to be and your day, like whatever you want it to be, your month, day, or year. So just plan out things that you want to accomplish in that month or that year, and that'll be really helpful.
I love the vision board idea. That's so good. Yeah.
Can I ask?
Lyarian, I'm sorry. One said Lyarian was going to say something.
Yeah, I agree with them as well. Just having a schedule, knowing that you have to do something next, keeps you on track. But I wasn't on track either, like Kanisha. I was all over the place. But I had to keep motivating myself to tell myself that I could do this because I'm almost there. I only have 1 more year left. I also did a lot of CCP classes during the school year, and I did some more during the summer to keep myself on track to get ahead.
That is great. That is great. I'm sorry, Danny. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Danny, no. I was just going to ask, the students to weigh in on just what if you were, these adults on this call, if you were giving advice to CPS in general, the superintendent was on earlier, and is certainly going to watch everything you say. What is sort of the one message or action you'd like to see, moving forward, especially even just going into summer, as the council member was talking about? Yeah, Chris.
The biggest message that I can possibly give anybody right now is just to love your neighbor just as you love yourself, honestly. Just show love every day. And that just by you doing that, that's us getting closer to change.
That's beautiful.
So real love.
Chris, can I ask, you guys talked a lot about the love coming from your coaches and teachers and friends. So it sounds like that would be a type of love that you would want CPS to encourage people to show more of. Is there anything else?
Even among students.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure. But thank you for that. I echo the council member. That is a beautiful sentiment.
Keorland?
One thing is treat others how you want to be treated. In order to see results, you have to if you don't want to be judged, you can't judge others. If you don't want to be forgot what I was going to say, but if you don't want to be judged, then you really can't judge people, or you just have to treat people how you want to be treated, and hopefully you'll get the same respect you give others.
That's right. I was going to ask you all, Christopher mentioned, loving each other and, and you're talking about respect. Jemiah, your hand is up, I know, so I'm going to ask you in a minute. But I just wanted to ask if you guys are staying in touch with your friends and also maybe reaching out. Some kids aren't that vocal, or, they're not like the popular kids. Are you all like talking to everybody, like making sure everybody's okay? Jemiah, go ahead.
Yeah, like Namaria, I reach out to Namaria almost every day. I try to make sure we're okay. But like, to go off what you were saying before everybody else was answering, like on a more personal level, I feel like if I'm not okay, go on Facebook, problem about it. I'm not gonna go be mad at somebody else. I'm gonna take care of me first. Like, what's his name? Love yourself love yourself and love other people the same way. So I'm not gonna put more negativity out. So we gotta work on like not putting as much negativity out into the world, and stay within ourselves and
That is great. That is wonderful. I can see why all of you are leaders. I mean, you all are phenomenal. Kanisha's hand is up. Kanisha, go ahead. Kanisha, what's your hand? Yeah.
Adding on to what Chris and just I feel like just support, love, and check their students. Support, love, respect, and check their students, because at this time and with everything going on, these killings have no gender, age, or racial at all. I feel like your students are okay. Keep them in the loop and just do what you can to help them.
Right. That's right. Okay, Nia's back on.
I am back on. I know we could probably talk about this all day, and it sounds, and I know that CPS has plans to continue these, and from what we've heard from the students, this will be something that they want to see continue. So thank you to the leaders who are on the call and willing to talk to our students. We appreciate you. The students clearly appreciate you. And thank you to the students that shared your voice. You're so valuable. I can't tell you how much it means to me to just be a part of this conversation and hear from you, because you're right. You are the voice of the future, and we need to start listening and listening closely and taking action. The two takeaways that I got in terms of action for us as adults is to continue having these conversations. And then, there you go. Thank you to Maria. And the other thing is to continue to make space available so that we can check in on you. I love the fact that every single one of you raised your hand when you said that someone has reached out to you, and it's a good reminder to me, and I think to all of us as adults, that we need to check in not just on peers our age, but on our friends, family members, and young people in our lives. So thank you all for those reminders. If you are a student and you want to get more involved and speak up and speak out, you can join Men of More. You can join Girls to Women. You can contact your athletic director to get more information about any of those things. So feel free to reach out to them if you want to continue to get engaged in these types of conversations. I know, Chris, you were given the final word for today in terms of next steps for everyone. So I will hand it over to you to end the conversation.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us for our first session of CPS Students Speak Up and Speak Out. We will be back next week for our second session, so feel free to join us. But thank you for everyone that's just visiting, everyone that's actively involved with this. Stay tuned for the next session. We need to keep this conversation going for our city and our nation. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. We'll talk to you again soon.